This is the original podcast edition of The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton, now part of the complete Pirates of Wefravain series. The books are available as audiobooks, ebooks, and paperbacks. This podcast originally aired from 2010 to 2014. Stick around after the story for commentary from me, the author, more than a decade later. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers, a story of pirates in Panamindorah. Written, narrated, and produced by Abigail Hilton. Book 5, Shores Beyond the World. Warning: this novel was intended for people who shop in the grown-up section of the bookstore. If you need to ask whether you will be offended, you probably will. Episode 11. Chapter 32. A Letter and Wormwood.
The bones of fawns found in funeral mounds on Asia Minor are almost always blackened, indicating that the bodies were burned before burial. Often, only the long bones and parts of the skull remain. It is interesting to note that the bones of Grishnards found on the island are almost never blackened, even in very ancient mounds. This is further evidence that Grishnards first appeared on the island as marauders, and were not accorded proper funeral rites. Gwaine, the non-Grishnards of Wefravain.
Gerard opened his eyes. There was a roaring in his ears, and he thought he could hear the distant sob of wind chimes. He felt sick. He wanted to turn over and vomit, but he could hardly keep his eyes open. He had to wait for them to focus. Gerard realized that he was propped in a bed, looking at a lamp on a table. Two Shelts were sitting at the table. One had his head in his arms, his pale hair pooling around him. Silvio. The other was reading what looked like a sheaf of papers. Gerard thought that he ought to be Gwaine, but he wasn't. The face bent over the papers looked familiar. Gerard struggled to remember who it was. When he did, he was so surprised that he whispered, "Jaleel?" Or tried to. It came out as,
Jaleel?
Jaleel's head snapped up, and he nearly knocked over the lamp as he came around the table. He reached for Gerard's hand, eyes scanning his face.
Gerard, can you hear me?
Gerard tried again. His mouth felt so dry. He was certain that he'd bitten his tongue. The blood had dried to his teeth.
Water?
He managed. Jaleel turned and grabbed something on the table, a small cup. Gerard could not hold the cup. He gulped the contents as Jaleel held it, so thirsty that he'd swallowed half before he realized that it was not water, but a substance so bitter that he gagged.
Oh, God, she's poisoned me.
I'm sorry,
Said Jaleel.
It's medicine. Wormwood. Try to swallow it. His lordship says it will make you better. Please try.
He tipped the rest of the contents into Gerard's mouth, and Gerard choked down the last swallow. It made his eyes stream. He sat back, coughing.
Please bring me real water now.
The noise had finally roused Silvio. He looked up, blinked, and then shot out of his chair.
Gerard!
I'm all right.
Silvio darted to the edge of the bed, his eyes scanning Gerard's face. Then he picked up one of Gerard's hands and held it in both of his. He bowed his head, cradling Gerard's hand like a dead kitten, and didn't say anything. Jaleel, meanwhile, had poured something from a pitcher. This time it was water. Gerard drank 3 cupfuls before his thirst eased. He was feeling better. He could hold the cup steadily now. He wondered if it was the medicine, or whether he was just waking up. Jaleel sat down heavily in a chair and stared at him. Gerard had no idea what to say. He felt disoriented.
Where?
He tried to sit up, and found that he was able. Silvio crawled up beside him. He looked pale and haggard, eyes red-rimmed from crying. Gerard put an arm around him. Silvio got 2 fistfuls of Gerard's shirt and curled up with his head against Gerard's chest.
Gerard, I'll explain in a moment. Right now, I just want to listen to your heartbeat. Is that all right?
You're in our suite of rooms in the Great Lodge on Masia Minor.
Said Jalil.
Father's suite, I mean. We've been here for 2 days, talking to everyone about how to avoid being overrun by Ocelon and Leopon pirates. They've been burning coastal cities and making flash raids. Hunty pirates have gotten suddenly aggressive, too. They burned a village on Holovaris, too.
Jalil faltered. With his brain working so sluggishly, it took Gerard a moment to realize that Silvio's behavior might be making Jalil uncomfortable. Before he could think of a way to make things less awkward, Jalil plunged on.
After dinner this evening, we're sitting in our rooms doing nothing much when someone pounded on our door.
He indicated Silvio.
He was very distraught.
Bloody sobbing wreck,
muttered Silvio.
I recognize the scent around their door.
Gerard sat up a little more and shifted Silvio into a more comfortable position. He noticed that his own right forearm was bandaged.
We didn't recognize him,
said Jalil.
We looked out and saw this enormous wyvern in a pool of blood near the end of the hall. Silvio dragged us over there, and then we saw you with your arm in its mouth and your sword in its gullet.
Did you get my sword back?
Asked Gerard. Jalil smiled. Gerard remembered that it was supposed to be a family heirloom. He'd taken it against orders.
Your sword,
he said quickly. Jalil shook his head.
No, I think it's yours, brother. I did clean the wyvern blood and brains off it for you.
Gerard smiled.
We carried you back to our apartments, but you looked awful, Gerard. You weren't bleeding so much, but you were dead pale. And we'd barely gotten you through the door before you had a fit. I thought you'd break your back. Your eyes rolled up, and you bit your tongue. Silvio tried to keep you from hurting yourself, and you knocked him across the room.
Gerard looked down at Silvio.
I'm fine,
he muttered in Gerard's head.
Bruises. Nothing that won't heal.
No sooner had we gotten you into bed in the back room than fawns came beating on our door demanding that we hand you over. Father sent them off. He told them we didn't know what they were talking about and to get out.
Gerard tried, unsuccessfully, to imagine his father lying convincingly to anyone.
They did, but we figured they'd be back. We were preparing to sneak you down to the nest boxes and fly you back to our ship in Port Royal when a stranger showed up.
Jalil frowned.
I thought surely he was a king when I saw him, probably Lord Masia. But he says he's just a Masian noble, a royal advisor. Whoever he is, he made the fawns go away, and they haven't been back. He stayed in our sitting room all night, but he's gone now. He brought the wormwood powder and said it was good for sea dragon bites. He said we must make you drink it as soon as you were able. After the fit, though, you went limp. You couldn't have swallowed anything. Then your breathing got shallow and rattly and finally irregular. We thought you were dying. Silvio started writing things down. He told us that you'd been bitten by a wyvern once before. Father brought all the paper in our apartments, and Silvio filled up sheet after sheet, telling us things you've done and places you've been in the last 2 years. He wrote about the Fang, your time in the Sea Watch, that Leon tattoo on your arm. It was all a little disjointed, and Father kept firing questions at him, and he kept trying to answer. We found the letter you wrote in the pouch around your neck.
There was an awkward silence.
Where is Father now? What time is it?
It's mid-morning. He went to bed in the last watch of the night. Your breathing had begun to steady by then.
Gerard could feel Silvio relaxing against him, exhausted. Gerard found that he could move his legs and tail. He didn't get up, though. He let Silvio sleep. Jalil brought him bread and cheese and a little wine, and moved the table so that Gerard could eat off it with one hand. Then Jalil sat down again and began poking through the stack of papers. Gerard realized that he was reviewing Silvio's conversations. Gerard had the sudden, strange impression that this was not his brother. Someone had taken his brother's shell and filled it with an altogether kinder, more tactful Grishnard. The oddness of the situation made him feel suddenly shy. After a while, he asked,
How are things at home?
Jaleel looked up.
Well, other than the pirates, we signed an excellent trade agreement with Malabar this spring. Also, I'm married. Did you know that?
Gerard shook his head.
I got myself mixed up with a merchant's daughter, and then a peasant girl. I sired a couple of bastards. Father decided it was time I had a wife. He found one he considered suitable from the Great Islands. She's a niece of Lord Haplag, the daughter of one of his brothers. Well, there's a reason she was unclaimed.
That sounds more like Jaleel. She is unattractive?
Jaleel's mouth flicked up, and he glanced at Silvio.
Yours is prettier.
You could say that about any number of women,
thought Gerard. He almost said it aloud, but he'd never joked that way with Jaleel, and he could not quite get up his nerve to do so now. Jaleel's expression grew sober.
I shouldn't say that. She was so lonely when she came to Holivaris. She was used to parties and teas and balls. I guess I was lonely too. Father was trying to catch me up on everything he didn't teach me before because you were the perfect heir. I was continually flying to these dirty little villages and listening to petty disputes about who was farming whose kelp or oyster bed. My attitude was less than gracious. Elizabeth missed her balls, I missed my hunts. We're doing all right now, though. I think we may have a child next spring.
Gerard smiled.
I'm glad. That's somehow I never expected you to grow up. I'm really glad, Jaleel.
Jaleel looked at him with a pained expression.
Gerard, when you showed up in port last time, I thought you'd come home. I know I didn't say it very well. When I realized you weren't coming back, I was so disappointed. Later, I wished I'd told you. I thought we'd sent you off for the last time, thinking you were unwanted and unmissed. I wondered whether, if I told you properly, you might have stayed. I used to lie awake at night thinking of what I should have said to you. Everyone missed you, Gerard. The servants, the griffins, the townsfolk, the peasants, me. Father hardly spoke that first winter after you left. When he heard you'd been killed, I think the last of his hair turned white. I know he asked about you every chance he got when we were abroad. I was never as good as you to him. I was not a suitable replacement for his elder son. He tried not to show it, though. He was extraordinarily patient with me sometimes.
Gerard wiped his eyes with the back of his hand.
I'm sorry, Jaleel, for everything. And I missed you too.
Chapter 33. Michelle.
Zebra and gazelle were never as common as Pegasus on Major Minor. Of the two, zebra are considered more valuable by Grishnards, since they make sturdy beasts of burden. They are also more aggressive. Gwaine, the non-Grishnards of Wefervain.
Gerard was positive now that the medicine was working. His head felt clearer, and the weakness that had pinned him to the bed when he woke was almost gone.
Jaleel, did Silvio tell you what's supposed to happen tonight? Gods, I can't believe I'm just lying here. We've got to leave. We've got to get everyone out.
Silvio stirred in his arms. Jaleel nodded.
He told us. We didn't want to move you, though. We thought we'd wait until the last possible moment.
Gwaine, did they catch him? Our party was ambushed. I never saw what happened.
We don't know. We've hardly stirred from our rooms since you arrived. We were afraid to even send the servants to fetch breakfast, but then we decided it would look more conspicuous not to.
A door opened. A figure stood there, silhouetted in soft daylight from the room beyond.
I thought I heard...
he began, and stopped. Silvio tensed. He was definitely awake now.
Father.
Gerard started to swing his legs over the side of the bed, and then realized that he wasn't wearing anything, except a linen shirt, which wasn't actually his.
Might I trouble you for my clothes?
Michelle Holivar laughed, a relieved, tired, ragged sound. Gerard had never heard his father laugh that way, Or much at all, really. Silvio let go of Gerard's shirt and twisted around.
And Silvio wonders whether there might be soap in a basin of water somewhere that he could use, if it's not too much trouble.
Jalil answered.
Yes, I'll show you.
He spoke to Silvio, but glanced curiously at Gerard.
Did he really say that?
Gerard nodded.
I can hear him as clearly as I hear you. Didn't he mention that?
Yes. That's amazing.
Michelle had gone out briefly, and come back with Gerard's clothes over one arm. Silvio slid off the bed, and Jalil offered him his hand. Silvio gave him an annoyed look, as though to say, "I am not a child." But then he took 3 steps and stumbled. It had been a long 2 days. Jalil caught his arm and guided him out of the room. Michel Holivar sat down at the table. He looked like he'd slept in his clothes, and his hair had gone completely white. Gerard remembered what Silvio had said when he met Lord Holivar.
Oh, look, it's you in 30 years.
More like 40 now.
Michel was staring at Gerard so intently that it made him uncomfortable. Gerard thought that he might feel less awkward with clothes on, so he rose, with only a hint of unsteadiness, and dressed. His father had wisely brought the spare clothes that Gerard had carried in his pack. Gerard supposed that the clothes he'd been wearing for the last 2 days were probably only good for burning. He found that his bandaged arm gave him twinges of pain, but he thought that he could still fight with it. When Gerard raised his head, his father was glancing aimlessly through the pile of Silvio's scribbled messages. Reluctantly, Gerard sat down at the table. He wished that Jalil and Silvio would return. Michel cleared his throat.
Thank you for your letter. I was...
Gerard spoke quickly.
I should have written you earlier this summer. I wasn't sure you wanted to hear from me. Thank you for saving my life yesterday. You've been very kind.
There was another awkward silence. Gerard thought that he should ask about the state of the kingdom. He was about to do so, when Michel spoke again, so softly that Gerard could hardly hear him. He waved his hand over the papers, and said,
Gerard, is this what you want? Or is this what I drove you to?
Gerard stared at him.
Surely you don't take responsibility for everything that's gone wrong in my life.
Gerard reached across the table and took Michel's hand.
Father, I meant what I said in my letter. I'm happy. I am content. Please don't punish yourself on my account.
Michel cleared his throat again.
You're a lot like your mother, Gerard.
Really?
Gerard had often heard the palace servant speak of his mother, usually of her hobbies, which had apparently been many. But he'd rarely heard his father speak of her. Michel nodded.
She was a kind person, kinder than I, and better at showing it, better at loving people.
He put a hand over his face. Gerard got up and came around the table. He bent and hugged his father.
Father, please don't. I always knew you loved me. I always suspected it, at least.
Michel waved him away.
Sit down. This is not what I wanted to say to you. Please, sit.
Gerard did. Michel took a deep breath and looked at him squarely.
Gerard, if you would sail with us when we leave here...
Gerard knew that his face must show his surprise, because his father talked faster.
If you would come home, you can keep Silvio, make him a royal advisor or secretary or whatever he wants. You don't have to marry. Jalil has a wife now. His child can inherit.
Gerard couldn't believe what he was hearing.
If that's not enough, if you want a public apology or if you want me to abdicate.
No, Father, no.
Michel ran a hand over his face.
Name your price and come home.
Gerard was too agitated to sit anymore. He rose and paced around the room. Michel's eyes followed him. Several times Gerard started to say something, but each time he stopped. His thoughts tumbled.
I never expected to be able to go home, see those shelts, walk those beaches.
He shut his eyes. He could picture the map of Hullavaris and its holdings. He knew every village, every hill, every stream, every reef and sandbar. It was home to him in a way that no other place would ever be. Michelle broke into his thoughts.
Pirates have been raiding and burning villages. Your presence, your leadership would help so much.
Gerard's mind flicked back to what his father had said about Silvio. It filled him with a mixture of gratitude and disgust.
You don't approve, but you feel that you made such an enormous mistake with Thessalon that you're willing to overlook Silvio.
The peasants and townsfolk, of course, would not. Part of Gerard wanted to think ill of his father for suggesting a state office as an excuse for Silvio's presence, but Gerard knew that wasn't fair. Little backwater Hullavaris had not been able to get its collective mind around the idea of a peasant Grishnard queen. They would have been horrified by even a female foxling. Calling Silvio Gerard's mate could place him in physical danger. Still,
Silvio would be an excellent royal advisor. We could run the kingdom between us better than I could do it alone. I suspect he would enjoy it. But would he enjoy it enough to leave the Fang?
Gerard thought of Basil, Lou, Gwaine, Serwyn, Meek, Marlowe, and all the other friends whom he and Silvio would likely never see again if they stayed on Hullavaris. He realized that if he did this, he would pluck Silvio completely from a world he knew and loved, into a world with which he was unfamiliar. A potentially hostile world where a foxling would be viewed as a curiosity and an inferior.
He would do it, if I asked. And he would adjust. He's adjusted to worse.
Silvio had spent his whole life adjusting and readjusting. Gerard thought of the Fang. He thought of Dakar. He thought of lonely numeraries under a summer sky. He opened his mouth, shut it, opened it again.
Father, I don't think you're being fair to Jalil.
Michelle blinked at him.
I talked to him while you were sleeping. He's grown up a lot, Father. I think he'd make a good king. He wants so badly to impress you, but he believes you have eyes only for me. Somehow, he still manages to love me.
Michelle made a choking sound. Gerard wasn't sure whether it was a laugh or a sob.
Maybe you're right. I'm afraid Jalil has had to learn a great deal rather quickly.
Gerard smiled.
It sounds to me like he's done a good job, after some bucking. He also sounds fond of the wife you picked for him, even though he was not at first inspired by her appearance. He spoke with wisdom and compassion of her and the kingdom. I cannot imagine that he would make a poor showing against pirates.
Michelle nodded slowly.
He does not have your way of making everyone love him, but he is improving.
Michelle met Gerard's eyes again, pleading.
But, Gerard, your brother does not want to be king. He will resent the throne. You never did, not until I mishandled.
Gerard came over to the chair he'd been sitting in and dragged it around the table alongside Michelle's. He sat down beside his father and put an arm around him. Gerard had always found it difficult to hug Michelle, because his father never properly hugged back. He tended to go rigid and pat a shoulder or back awkwardly until he was released. He was no less awkward now, but he wrapped Gerard's free arm in a vice-like grip.
I'm so sorry about Thessalon. You have no idea how
Father, please let that go. She would not want you to suffer forever. She would not want you to suffer at all.
Gerard took a deep breath.
As I said, I'm happy on my ship. Jalil is beginning to take pride in his work. I think if you express unreserved confidence in his ability to rule the kingdom, he will want to. I think he does already, but he's afraid it will be snatched away from him at any moment.
Michelle's shoulders slumped a little, but Gerard could tell that he was thinking.
We will visit Hullavaris when this is over, before we leave for the Pendulans. I may return to Wefervain someday. We've talked of making the Fang a merchant ship. When I can, I will visit you.
Michelle spoke softly.
Please do.
You have been listening to The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton. Copyright Abigail Hilton. The ebook for Cowry Catchers Book 5 includes 16 illustrations in ink and watercolor by Sarah Cloutier. as well as 13 portraits by Greensprite and 2 versions of the map by Jeff McDowell. The ebook is available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, iBooks, and Kobo. The rest of the series is also available as illustrated ebooks, and the entire series is available in non-illustrated paper on Amazon. Visit my website at abigailhilton.com for information, including how to get 25% discounts on paper books and how to order signed books. This podcast included the vocal talents of
Nathan Lowell
as Gerard,
Norm Sherman,
as Silvio,
Chris Lester,
as Gwaine,
Big Anklovich,
as Jaleel,
Rish Outfield,
as Michelle. Sound effects for this podcast were provided by SoundSnap, the Free Sound Project, and Sound Dogs. The intro music was Grace by Beth Quist. Music for Book 5 of Cowry Catchers included selections from Digital Juice at digitaljuice.com and Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. It also included additional music from Beth Quist, Diana Rowan, Jamie Saber, and David Modica, all from magnatune.net. All the music was licensed and used according to the terms of the websites. This is a standard copyright now. This podcast is provided for your personal enjoyment only. You can download and archive the episodes for your personal use. You may not re-upload, mirror, or publicly redistribute the audio files, nor can you alter, remix, or create derivative works. And I'm back. This is 2026 Abby, coming to you with a few thoughts on the episode. So I am guessing most people reading these books did not expect a reconciliation with Gerard's family at the end of the story. I feel like it comes a little bit as a surprise, and I hope as a good surprise. I still like that part of the story. I do quite a bit with those characters in future books. That is my cat mochi. I'm going to leave that one in. I've cut out several of him speaking previous to this. I mentioned in a previous episode that second chances do not look like first chances. Michelle's second chances here do not look like his first chances. So he had a chance to have Gerard as his heir. And if he had handled things differently, that would have been what happened. But he screwed that up monumentally. And while he still has an opportunity to have his child in his life again, he is not going to get the same family structure that he originally anticipated, because things have changed. All right, lots of dominoes falling in the next episodes. I will see you there. This is Abigail Hilton, and you have been listening to the Pirates of Wefravain saga. Join me on Patreon for early episodes, long-form interviews, forum access, personal updates, and lots of artwork, including maps and species charts. That's patreon.com/Abigail Hilton. If you want the whole story now with no interruptions and some remastering of the early books for sound quality, you can find the entire series at shop.abigailhilton.com, along with all my other novels. The audiobooks are delivered by BookFunnel. Background music was Hidden Sky by Jamie Sieber, licensed from magnatune.net circa 2014. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers podcast is an audio adaptation of the Pirates of Wefravain saga, written and produced by Abigail Hilton. Original production copyright 2010. All rights are reserved to the author.